Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. For some time now I've been thinking about putting an autofocuser or electronic focuser on the Skymax 180 Mak Cass that I use for lunar and planetary imaging. Because it's a Mak Cass, I'm kind of limited in what the options available are. However, if you see my previous videos, you'll know I put a rack and pinion focuser. No, it wasn't rack and pinion actually, sorry, it was a Crayford focuser onto the visual back of that particular telescope. Recently I was looking at Aliexpress and I saw this, the only way I could describe it looked very much like the ZWO EAF, listed as an Aquarius electronic focuser. And subsequently I've seen several reviews on this online, and it seems to I've got, seems to be pretty well received, seems to be a very good unit. But what was immediately attractive to me was the price. It's about half of what the ZWO EAF is, and I just wanted something fairly simple for the Mak Cass, something that I could use a handset with, and this particular unit comes with various options that suit my purpose entirely. So I went ahead and ordered one. First of all, let's do some unpacking. I'm Dr. Ray, and welcome to Astrogadge. I think it's terribly exciting when you get a nice new bit of kit that you haven't seen before. It always reminds me a bit of like Christmas morning as a kid. Anyway, it just looks fairly well packed. It took a bit of going with this knife, so I'm going to put this knife to one side before I end up cutting myself, which I will inevitably do. So inside, very well padded box. That way, yeah. Some more padding inside. Okay. All right. These out of the way. Looks like a sensor for the handset, remote, USB 2 cable. Oh yeah, and it comes with a temperature sensor. Now the first thing, I'm not sure I really need this, but you know what? I'm just wondering if this will actually work with the ZWO units. We'll look at that later. Bracket. Basically, looks like a rip-off of the, well, not rip-off, but looks like a clone of the ZWO unit. Very similar at least. Okay. This is what I really was after with this configuration. So this is the remote handset, which obviously connects to the infrared sensor here. We've got various couple of units, again very similar in design to, again if not identical to the ZWO units. Probably come from the same factory. And here we have the said focuser unit. There we go. So, Gemini Automatic Astrofocuser Pro. It's USB 2 slot. This is for the handset sensor. It's for the temperature probe. It's feels alright. Feels, yeah. It looks like it's slightly larger than the ZWO version, but we'll find out, whether or not it works for my intended purpose. Once we'll start fitting, that's the next thing. Where are the screws? Okay, the screws were actually embedded here at the bottom. That was good. A bit of a panic there. I didn't think I'd have anything to fit it to the scope with. All is good. Alright, so here's the focuser. For those of you who have seen my previous video about this scope and why I added this, feel free to have a look on the channel. But essentially I did this mainly for convenience. Right, so the first thing that became obvious is when I offer this up, the focus lock screw was actually fouling it, so I've actually removed the said focus lock screw. It won't be needed anyway once the units actually engage with the focuser drive. Next thing to do is to remove this focusing knob here. One thing I did notice actually, forgot to say earlier, is that the focuser unit doesn't come with any tools or Allen keys, unlike the ZWO unit. But hey, I've got my own, and for the price, I think we can forgive them for that. Right, so let's offer this up. I use these two screw positions here. I've fitted the connection, what you call it, barrel coupling. Coupling, I think is the correct word, isn't it? To the focuser shaft. So I'm just nipping that up now. Make sure it's nice and tight. Yep, it's rotating and it's quite tight now. Just to fit this on. So, again, that feels fairly solid. Putting it in fairly loosely for the time being. So I've moved the mounting bracket to position where the holes align with the frame. So now we simply okay, that's everything nice and tight. No play here. So, dare I say it, we're almost ready to see if this works or not. Oh, isn't this exciting? I guess now we fit all the rest of the parts of the unit. So this is the infrared detector, and that's the temperature, that's it in here. Get it right. I'm not going to bother with the temperature sensor at the moment. Interestingly enough, the remote unit has a battery in it. She's just fallen out. Oh well, just put it back in. That's a CR 2032. I was expecting to have to provide batteries for the unit. There we go. Now let's get some power into this thing and see what happens. Oh! Reassuring bleep! And we've got a little red light on here and a light on for the connection to the handset. So far so good. I've got the handset moving out, moving in. Woohoo! It lives! Obviously when I've got this in the EQ8 mount, the power will be supplied to the from the mount's hub straight into this. If I'm using it on a grab and go mount away from the observatory, then of course I can use something like this power pack here to power it. Next thing we need to do is to try it out on the moon and see how it performs. Alright, so I've downloaded the ASCOM drivers for this focuser. It's a bit of a pain that they didn't actually have that on the vendor site, but never mind. I'll put links to where to get these drivers on the screen. But here we are. It's all worked terribly well. It's connecting. It's even. I've got the temperature probe connected. So the probe's reporting the temperature as 44.25 degrees Celsius. I put that probe and an independent temperature probe into my coffee. Probe is reporting 44.4 degrees centigrade. So, dare I say it, the probe seems to be pretty congruent, seems to be pretty accurate. Yeah, so the software's communicating with it fine. So, what can I say? All looks well. Yeah, so it's communicating, it's turning back and forth as it should. And like I say, I'm not going to be using it as an automatic focuser. I'm going to be using it essentially so it's a contactless, so I don't actually have to touch the scope when I'm imaging. So this scope's purely for lunar and solar system imaging. But as I said, online there's a lot of, well, there's some reviews in it that have tested it in the fully automatic mode, and it seems to work well. And from what I've seen here, connected to SG Pro, well, whilst I haven't tested it against any stars, from a connectivity point of view, everything seems well. Well folks, I think that was relatively straightforward. The unit seems to be working. Like I say, I'm only using this unit to focus the Mak Cass for planetary and lunar work. So it won't be truly automatic focus. I'll be using the handset to achieve focus on it. So I'm not using this in the same way that I'm using the ZWO units, for example, for deep space imaging with truly automatic focusing. For those of you that follow the channel, I haven't been on for a while, quite simply because the weather has been atrocious. I don't know what's happened this year. I was hoping to get out and do a lot more solar imaging and some lunar imaging using infrared pass filters, but this summer has been a complete wipeout. We've had grey skies and rain, and just generally it's not been conducive to any form of astro imaging or astrophotography, or dare I say it, the forecast for tonight and tomorrow doesn't look too bad, so I'm hoping I will be able to try this unit out on the moon, even though it still doesn't get astronomically dark here at this time of year. But I'm going to be using some IR pass filters to so I can image in what is effectively daylight or twilight. So fingers crossed, if the weather holds up, then we'll on to part 2 of how well this unit performs. But meantime, thanks so much for watching. If you like the content, please give us a thumbs up and please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything, it simply means that you'll get heads up when I produce any new content. So again, thanks for watching, and remember, keep watching the skies.
Watch the sky everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the sky.